Hi, this is Amrita Sukumar, and I'm bringing to you this podcast called Unsettling. Look around you. Everyone is trying to create their own story. Make a tiny change in someone's life by just following their passion and in turn, inspiring the others to follow suit. This podcast brings to you stories of people who have defied the definition of settled set by the society and have created their own. They have found happiness in their version of settled. What is yours? With the emergence of concrete jungles and the advancement of technology, the world has definitely made headway, but in the melee, we have taken away the joy of playing outside. All work and no play would definitely make anyone a dull person. So, to bring back the exuberance that came along with playing outside, I have with me my next guest, the founder of Anthill Creations, Pooja Rai. Hi Pooja, thank you for doing this with me. How are you?
Hi Amrita, I'm doing very well. So glad to be on your podcast.
Me too. I'm really excited to have you because you're doing something completely offbeat and that is what we stand for. So, this pandemic is not yet gone and all the children are still stuck inside their homes. So, are you planning anything to bring the playgrounds to their doorstep?
We actually did. So when the country went on a lockdown and all schools were shut, the communities that we had worked with before reached out to us asking for solutions, how their children can keep themselves engaged. I feel like especially children coming from underprivileged backgrounds do not have any access to digital devices and absolutely no way of learning apart from the schools. So we came up with this new idea where we are bringing play to children's home. We've designed games, indoor games, which children can play from the safety of their homes and which also takes care of the holistic development. So each of our games caters to say social emotional well-being, physical development, gross motor skills, creativity, and that has become like a super hit amongst children.
Wow. So, do you follow the same rules? I mean, are you creating those out of scrap as well?
So we are using sustainable material, but we are not using scrap to do that because I think before, I think recycling is good, but we also want to make sure that what children are using is durable and they use it for a long time.
Okay. So that is what you're doing right now. So what inspired you to start Anthill Creations? What was the entire thought process that went in your head before starting this?
Actually, Anthill's journey started more of by accident, to be very honest. I studied architecture in IIT Kharagpur, and when I was in my final year of college, I wasn't really interested in designing buildings. But I believed as an architect that spaces are very powerful in defining the behavior of people. And how you design spaces can actually bring about a positive change in people's lives. When I was in my final year of college, I used to go to this residential school for underprivileged children called as the Shasima Care Center. And in one of my visits, I saw that children were playing with broken cement pipes. They were using slippers to play badminton. And I just spoke to my friend that these children don't even have a playground. Is playground a luxury? And just as a bunch of friends, we decided to build a playground for those children, use the knowledge that we have gained in 5 years of studying architecture to build a playground for them. So that's how we started. And when we built our first playground, we never knew that this would become like my career path or, we would be building thousands of playgrounds. The idea was to give happiness to those 250 children. But over the next few years, with hundreds of requests coming from all over the country to us, asking us to build similar playgrounds, made us realize that this is a big problem. And as a society, I think we put a lot of emphasis on classroom education, but I believe that holistic education and holistic development of a child happens when the child is also learning outside, playing with other friends.
Correct.
So that is how we started. Took this venture full time in 2017, and today we've built close to 300 playgrounds.
Oh my God, that's beautiful. That's beautiful to know. But Pooja, I have this query. I mean, even when I go outside, it's almost 3 kilometers before I find a playground that's like made of mud.
Do you find that really difficult to find an actual playground to create, from scratch in this concrete landscape?
So I think in the context of cities, yes, as the development is happening, more and more infrastructure development, we are somehow losing those green spaces, those natural spaces where we used to go out for our daily activities, for
Yes.
walks. The only spaces we go out now are, say, malls or restaurants.
Huh.
So yes, I think cities are developing, but not in a sustainable way. And that is what our aim is, right? Like, play should be accessible to everyone. It should be close to your home. So that's what we are also trying to do, that pick up cities and make them child friendly, make them playful, and have more green spaces. So in Bangalore, we've done projects where we have identified these dead spaces and transformed them into community spaces and playgrounds. And we've seen like the children and even adults, when they come with their children, enjoy those spaces a lot.
I can imagine, because it's such a rarity to find a playground, where children can actually play and have fun. And nowadays, honestly, I feel that children are more stuck behind the screens rather than going outside. So what do you
Absolutely, yes.
feel? What do you feel about that? Like, do you feel that there can be a change done in that, inspire more kids to
So
go outside? Yeah.
yeah, so I believe that technology is powerful, but it also needs to be used in a I think in a conscious way. We all have seen children before they even learn how to walk. They know how to left swipe or right swipe on their
Yes.
phone. So this is a new, this is a generation, I think, which has not seen a world without phones.
Right.
But I think in that process, we should not forget the importance of playing outside under the sun, right? And I think that is something that we will have to be, as parents, as teachers, as a society, be more conscious that we don't lose out on a few, I would say, ways how we used to play when we were young.
Correct.
And yeah.
Yeah, hopefully that will happen. It is I think it's important that we inspire them not to use phones as much, because even I have a nephew at home, and we used to make sure that we never sat in front of the phone when we were with him. So we used to keep the phone somewhere far away, and we used to play with him using blocks or talking to him continuously or telling him stories. And that is how we made sure that, even when he saw a phone, it was more like a device for him that he was curious about, but not something that he was really addicted to. So
Right.
that is something that we tried to make sure. So Pooja, why the name Anthill Creations? Why Anthill?
So,
Yeah.
right. So we came up with actually hundreds of names before we finalized on this one name.
Okay.
And what really the best part that we liked about this was that anthill is a structure which is made by ants,
Right.
and it is a very strong structure. So on similar concept, we wanted to build something which is much larger than ourselves, and also has a strong sort of like is also strong and lasts longer.
Yes.
So I think on those principles, I think we came up with this name, and yeah,
Okay.
and also like how these small ants come together and are able to build that. I think that is something that inspired us.
That is beautiful. But anyway, I would say what's in a name, the thing that you're doing is actually more beautiful.
Absolutely.
So, Pooja, I have read about you. There's a lot of literature about you on the internet. So, when you began, you started with scrap tire playscapes. So, how did you come up with that idea, and are you still continuing with that?
Yes. So the idea was when we started out, we wanted to build a playground for those children. We were students at that point of time, so we didn't have money. So we thought, let's get a few tires together and build it. And I think as architects, like we feel if we can reuse something and we are able to build something much better, why not, right? Like it didn't feel at that point in time that we are innovating something or creating something very different. It was the need of the hour. We didn't have money, and we felt that tires are such a strong structure, and we continue to use tire in our playgrounds even today, because I think, um, I mean, if you look at the stats, right, like 981 million tires are thrown away every year,
Oh my God.
and even less than 7% is recycled. So there's, I think we see the waste usually that we see around our homes, but there's a lot of industrial waste which is getting generated. And I think if we can reuse them in making something beautiful like playgrounds, why not, right? It is, we're doing two positive changes with one product. But again, when it comes to durability of the playground, we don't compromise on that, and hence we have not we have not used plastic or some of the other material. So we always keep the safety of children and durability of the playgrounds as a top priority, and try to use local material and sustainable material in our playgrounds.
Okay, that's beautiful, because I've seen pictures and they actually look really beautiful. The way you have created structures from tires. I mean, I could not imagine that you could have those tunneled slides kind of thing that you created with tires. I would have never imagined that. So that's really
Yes.
wonderful.
And because of that, we also see that how children are very excited, right? Like this is something that they've never seen before.
Yeah.
So, and it's so colorful that it's inviting for children. So they enjoy these playgrounds. Also, tires work like Lego blocks. So we've created hundreds of designs using them, and many of these designs are very abstract. So it leaves an opportunity for children to explore their imagination, develop their own games around this. So even after years, like children don't get bored in these playgrounds.
Oh, that's a very smart and innovative design. I guess, somewhere down the lane, we tend to not imagine after we grow up. So at least when we are children, we require that mind space to make sure that our brains are developed more. And
Yes.
you're doing that really well. So Pooja, how does your team find the location of a playground? And is there any particular permission that are required to get the proper location before you start?
So we have a lot of requests that come to us on our website from communities, headmasters, leaders from across the country who are in need of a playground. So that's how we identify. The idea is to reach to the most needy people first. And hence we started with government schools where children do not have anything to play with. Apart from that, it also depends on the funder. So the corporate or the funder community, which is funding it, might have a certain geography in mind or a certain school in mind where they want us to work. So that is also how we work. Now that we have started working at a larger scale, we are working with the government to take up like a geography and transform the entire city or an entire state, so that we are able to see the impact and then replicate that impact in other areas as well.
Okay, so you are creating a module that can be, replicated in different areas. So you're checking what works and then, okay. So Pooja, I have read that there are 4 core values of Anthill Creations. One is public, interactive, learning, and environment. So can you tell the listeners what they are?
Right. So, I mean, what we are trying to do different from the existing playgrounds are, make these playgrounds very intuitive and something that comes naturally, like how children can come and they can play on their own. They won't need a lot of guidance. So basically, these 4 principles come from there, that we're trying to revitalize the existing public spaces, which basically transforming lakesides, dump yards in the cities, and making the entire city more playful and child friendly. Also making them more interactive. So when we design a playground, we create place, like I said in the beginning, spaces are very powerful and it can define the behavior. So we create playgrounds like play elements like seesaw where more than one children have to play together. So through design, we are enforcing interaction between children. Whereas we also create a few play elements where if a child wants to be on their own, on his or her own, they can also play on their own and they're not like forced to play with other children and they're still enjoying and, watching other kids. So that was the concept around interactive. Learning, so we don't create we're not creating boring science marks for children because we want children to come to these playgrounds on their own. But there's a lot of learning that happens while children are playing, right? Social, emotional skills, negotiation skills. So that's on the learning bit, and also in the process not harming the environment and hence reusing the existing material.
Okay. Because when you said negotiation, I remember our negotiation that we used to do while playing. Because jiski bat hoti thi, usi ki batting hoti thi. So
right.
that negotiation skill, I think we have learned on the ground and we can't learn that anywhere else. So I understand where it comes from. Thank you so much for sharing that.
So a lot of these 21st century skills, right? We don't really learn inside the classes, but while we are having fun.
I know, because I feel classroom is okay when you need some kind of educational degree where they teach you like this is the theoretical things that are important. But what is important is the practical things, practical work that you do after going outside and applying that theory in real life. So unless you don't apply that physics and science and interaction and communication skills and moral values that are taught in the classroom, there's no point. Because we're trying to create citizens, right? So interaction is of utmost importance.
Right.
So Pooja, you have also written a book that talks about the journey and experiences of women and entrepreneurs in India called The Road Not Taken. So how were you inspired to write that book and how did that interaction help you with your entrepreneurial journey?
So I wrote this book when I was in my third year of college.
Okay.
And I got interested in this because I really wanted to meet these entrepreneurs. And I'm not very much of a writer, but it was very exciting to hear firsthand their journeys, their experiences, and how they came from very humble backgrounds. Many of them did not have a lot of support from families. And yet, when I was talking to most of them, they did not complain about any of the obstacles they faced. They only talked about how they moved forward. So that was my, I think, first-hand, experiencing what entrepreneurship looks like. Because from outside, it looks very fancy. Everybody wants to do a startup. But when you really get into it, right, is when you understand the struggles. So the idea of writing that book was to inspire people, and I myself got super inspired in that process. I think that was the first time when I realized that I wanted to do my own enterprise.
Yes, that I can see, definitely. That is when you started Anthill Creations. But I have one question for you. When you mentioned that startups are not easy, how difficult was it for you to begin and, take it from ground zero to where it is today?
I think the very first big obstacle was quitting your job and taking it full time. Especially when you come from a college like IIT, you are getting highly paid, and everybody around you is telling, right from your family to your well-wishers, when everyone is telling that this is not the right thing. Are you sure? I think you start questioning yourself also. So I think that was a very, very, difficult decision. I think with my family, I was having a conversation for almost a month. But what really gave me confidence was thinking long term. I knew that this is what excites me, this is what I like doing, and this is where I want to be in the long term. And it felt like the right direction to take. And eventually, I think over the years, everybody understood. They've started supporting. We were fortunate to have some really good mentors early on our journey to guide us, because we started right out of college after 1 year, and when we had not even worked and scaled organizations. Here we were trying to build and scale our own organization. So I think it was difficult. We have done a lot of mistakes, learned from it very fast. We've always been a super, I think, fast moving organization, and I think being a part of incubators and few fellowships really helped me in bringing Anthill where it is today.
Okay, I'm glad you had a lot of mentors, because learning from someone else's experience is what will take you forward, right? And of course, as you said, failing a lot and making a lot of mistakes and rising from that. I know how difficult it gets on the journey. Everyday struggles, getting everything on board, and you're still at it. Yeah. That means you're really passionate about it. So, do you overlook the design aspect now, or is there someone else who does that for you?
So we do have a design team, and most of the innovations come from them. But yes, I still do look at the design at Anthill.
Okay, you do. Oh, is there any one element that you leave behind that tells the viewer that, hey, this is designed by Pooja? Is that something that you do?
Not really. I think I prefer dynamic designs because I've seen children enjoying them the most.
Okay.
But they are also more difficult to make because you have to take care of the safety aspects and many other things. But I don't think I have the super different any signature style.
Okay. Well, you also spoke about safety aspects a lot of times during the episode. So what are the aspects that you have to keep in mind before designing an entire space?
So I think when you work with children, designing anything have to take care of the safety as a top priority. So we do follow international safety standards for building of the dimensions, material that you use.
Okay.
We have a quality check at the end of while designing and also while constructing. We have a quality check where we check that there are no sharp edges in the playground. Everything has been built the way it was designed. Smaller children might put their hands or their head might get stuck if the gaps are not appropriate. The height of the elements should be at a height that is safe for children, whether it's a jumping element, because we might think of one way of playing in a playground, but children will play it in various ways. So we have to think of all of those ways and make sure however they play in the playgrounds, they are safe for them, because we don't want children to get hurt in the playgrounds. I mean, a little bit of bruises is fine. I think we all, that's how we become stronger when we play in the playgrounds, but not because of wrong design or wrong construction.
Okay. So there are a lot of things that go into designing a particular space, and that's really great that you take care of all of those. But when you were talking about this, there was one thing that came to my head. So if you remember, if you go to any playground, any play space where there are these jungle gyms and everything, there is an age group limit written. But if you see there are people who are my age who will be sitting on the swing or, swinging from the jungle gym. So how do you make sure that people, adults don't go and jump and break the whole space? Does that ever happen to you?
It always happens. And I think we don't control that anymore. We design the playgrounds in a way that they are safe even when adults are playing on them. So we make them like double strong. And also we build these playgrounds in tribal areas, in government schools, where on a seesaw where 2 children are supposed to sit, you will see at least 12 children, 6 children sitting on each side.
Right.
And you have to you have to build a playground for that strength. So that's the solution that we have come up with. And that also tells us, right, that we as adults also have a child inside us, and we also want to go out and play. So when we basically design playgrounds in community parks and public parks, we try to include a few gym equipment elements and try to create it like a community space where adults also have their corner where they can have fun.
Thank you for doing that. I used to look at the swing and feel, I'm too old for this. So thank you for doing that and creating spaces for adults as well. So can you tell the listeners a little bit about your team? Who all are working with you right now?
So we have around 20 people team right now. Most of the team is very, very young. This is their first or second jobs. And they've been around with Anthill for the past 2-3 years. So we have 3 departments in our organization. We have the design team, we have the operations team, and we have the business development. We have a small business development team as well. So, I mean, the responsibilities are quite clear. The design team designs the playground and designs and prototypes the whether be it playgrounds or be it the new indoor games that we are designing. The operation teams handles the entire supply, procurement, construction, community mobilization on the field. And we have the business development team, which takes care of the clients, sending them proper reports of the work that we do and maintaining details of the finances. So that's what largely our team looks like. Mix of architects, civil engineers, non-engineers as well. But super passionate. I think nobody in the team is working for money. Everyone really enjoys the work. And I've seen how they fill into each other's shoes when required.
And that's the beauty of having a job that you love, right? Once you make your passion your profession, everything is easy from there. So, Pooja, how can people work with you or help Anthill Creations in any way?
And so we're building playgrounds across the country. So we are looking for more people to join our team as well in all of these roles. And if people don't want to join full time, they can always volunteer with us. They can write to me or reach out to us on our website and build a playground in their own community, and we will help you do that.
Okay, so if anybody is really interested, they can always get in touch with Pooja. You can always go on the website. I'll anyway be adding the links in the description, so it will be easy for you. And well, Pooja, do you have any message for anybody who wants to get into this whole entrepreneurial journey and start something new from scratch?
So I think one thing that I tell myself is that at the end of the life, I think we regret the things we have not done and not the ones that we have done. So we end up spending so much time thinking that we will do it and we never do it. So I would say you will never be 100% sure of starting an enterprise or whether the idea is good. You'll have to pick one and then stick with it. But it has to be, it's a very overused word, passion. You have to be really passionate about the thing you do, because you will come across a lot of obstacles and the world will force you to quit. And then those are the times when your passion will help you, stay focused and move forward and not give up.
Yes, for sure. So thank you. I think I'm also a little inspired after hearing that. So if I have any other new ideas, I'll make sure that I jump in first and then learn how to swim later.
Yes.
Pooja, this is the last question, and I ask this to everyone because everyone around you will ask you to be settled. Ki beta settle ho jao. But then nobody knows what it is. So I go around asking people, hey, what does settled mean to you? So this is my question to you. What does settled mean to you, Pooja?
I think for me, settled means being unsettled, to be very honest. I enjoy my every single day, and in that I think attempt to settle, we forget and we lose out on the present that we have right now. So I think there's no definition of being settled. Everyone has their own perception, and we all should constantly strive to be to make ourselves better and also create a world which is better. So I don't to me settling is unsettling.
Okay, thank you for promoting my podcast also a little bit. That's what I'm also propagating, the unsettled. So Pooja, these were my questions. I'm done with my questionnaire. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And I'll actually tell you how I found you originally. I had read an article about you in the newspaper when I had just passed out from college. And I always had this in my head. Like when I read it, I remember thinking to myself that, hey, it would be so wonderful to talk to somebody who's doing something like this. And then 5 years later, I saw you on Facebook. And then I actually Googled you after that. And I realized, hey, these are the same people, because when I saw the same pictures and I remembered those pictures, I figured out that you were the same guys. And I never in my life thought that my wish would come true, and it has. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk to you. And
thank you, Amrita.
Thank you for giving the children a chance to dream again, Pooja.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So for the listeners, I'll be adding all the links in the description, so you can always get in touch with her if you have any questions, or if you want to start a playground, or if you just want to get in touch with her.
Awesome.
So thank you, Pooja. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Hi! If you can hear this, that means you have reached the end of the episode. So like, share, subscribe, follow, stay tuned to Unsettling. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can always reach out to me on my Instagram page, Amrita Sukumar _unsettling, or send me an email on podcast.unsettling.as@gmail.com. Hope to hear from you soon. Bye.